Hey guys, Indigo here. I know it's been a really long time. A lot of things have been kind of going on in real life, and so I haven't been able to record in a while. A lot of them I can't really talk about right now. We will probably talk about them in another video or some other time, but I just wanted to let you guys know I am still here, and I still intend to make content. There may be some changes over the next couple months, maybe a year, but we're still going to try and make it work. So, anyways, I really like this game. This is Stacklands, and I haven't exactly gotten a chance to play it in a while. So, I've gotten all the DLCs presently. Some people probably don't even know what this game is. But this is a very fun, like, board style card game where you move the cards around like pieces. Uh, as the name would suggest, you stack them, do other things with them that cause other effects and stuff. I really enjoy this game, and I've actually been wanting to play it for the channel for a long time. Don't worry, the other games that we have running, still going to be playing those. I do intend to get back to Telefang at some point. Um, you're just gonna have to bear with me a little. I have to work on a few things to get that up and running again. Yeah, we've had some technical issues here and there. Hopefully this headset is a bit better than the one that I had before. So I'm a bit more clear, but also I don't want to be too loud. But anyways, so how about we get started here? So the way that the game works is you have essentially a full day that goes by, and you want to complete certain tasks within that full day, and then it rotates the next day. The idea is that you want to survive multiple days. Theoretically, the game is infinite. So you can have short days, the normal setting, and then long days. And then peaceful just makes it so that there are no enemies. If you just want to use it as a, kind of like a simulator. I mean, it is ultimately a simulator. But if you just want to turn combat off, kind of like what you would do in Minecraft, where you just want to, build families, build up cities, stuff like that, which is the main focus of Stacklands 2000, the newest DLC. But I'm going to leave everything pretty much alone. If the curse to start a new run with it enabled. Okay, so this right here, the Curse Worlds DLC introduced these, where if you beat the game, you can actually turn these on automatically for the main game. The curse effects. And generally you can do those in-game as well after you've defeated the main antagonist of those DLCs. But anyway, let's actually start the game. So you start with a base pack like this. And over the course of the game, you have quests that the game wants you to complete. So over here we have open the first booster pack. We have drag the villager on top of a berry bush. So this is a berry bush. And this produces food. So if you do this, the villager will start to produce food in order to feed the villager, because every day that goes by you need to have a certain amount of food to feed the villager. Now if I close this, oh, it's still in the tutorial. Right, I hit space. There we go. So I've paused the game just so we can get a look at these cards here. So we have wood, we have a stone here that we can actually mine for rock. And I'm actually going to zoom out a little bit so I want you to see the rest of the board. So we have a full board here. This board will actually get bigger over time in the game. And then up here we have, these are going to be, you're able to pay for booster packs, very similar to the one that we just opened. So first things first, let's get enough food for our villager to survive. I think berry bushes generally produce three berries. I was about to call it a strawberry because that's what's on the card, but it's just berry. Yeah, there we go. So I'm going to put our food over here. Generally what I like to do is I like to stack the board on this side. So all of our resources go on this side. Food and other things such as greenhouses, ways to produce more food, or you know, other things in that category tend to go over here, stoves, ways to cook food. And then down here, I'll usually store like the way that the game allows you to make the board bigger is you collect what are known as warehouses and sheds. I don't usually bother with the sheds. I usually try to brute force the game to give me warehouses because sheds are kind of a waste of resource and they're a waste of time, in my opinion. Eventually, you won't be able to produce any more. Well, that's not true. You can produce warehouses indefinitely, but you won't be able to make the board any bigger. So eventually, with access to the expansion, which was the island expansion, which was not exactly a DLC, it was actually free content, they give you access to lighthouses, which will expand the size of the board while also expanding your resource cap. What I mean by resource cap is up here. So this is a resource cap, and essentially what you do here is I only have a cap of 20 right now. To make this number bigger so that I can obtain more resources to build more things, I have to make this number bigger. So that's why most people will at least get 3 or 4 sheds at the beginning, but again, I'm going to try and brute force this. So as of right now, we have wood, we have a rock. So we have to make sure that we're still making money. Yep, so our first pack is unlocked. So this is a rock. So when these are your 2 main primary resources, especially at the beginning of the game. Generally, to get other resources, you have to combine cards like these to make other resources. A prime example would be if I wanted, yeah, I'll do that. If I wanted a stick, I put my villager on this 1 wood. Sticks are actually pretty good early game because you can sell them. So, we've completed a few tasks. I'm going to sell this stick. That also completed more tasks. This is going to go off every couple of minutes, but I will definitely look at some of these tasks, the more interesting ones, as we complete them. So now I have 3 coins. I can now buy a booster pack. So what you're essentially supposed to do, especially in the early game, is utilize your resources as much as possible so that you can sell them to get more booster packs, which will then provide you more resources. So as we can see here, we now have a tree. A tree is very similar to a rock. We can get wood from the tree, but sometimes we'll also get apples. We also have a soil here. Soil is good because we can use it. Generally, we can use it long term to make more berry bushes. But it's better to turn it into a greenhouse. Now, I don't remember if the soil gets consumed when we put the berry on it. I don't believe so. I think it's just very slow. But essentially, we are growing a new tree. So now what I normally do is I'll start setting up basically little spaces to start producing certain resources and keeping them organized. So what I'll want to do next is produce more wood. So this is actually a very nice, comfy game. I probably will take this a little too slow for some people's liking. But that's alright. I mean, anybody who wants to watch will, and then the people that don't want to because it's too slow, then they won't. So, unfortunately, we only have 2 wood here, which, it's alright. We want to get 3 so that we can start making planks. Now, I have not found any ideas yet. Ideas are very important because they are essentially recipes. I know some of the recipes by heart, but not all of them. And since I've started a fresh file in order to do this Let's Play, I'm going to have to find them all over again, which is cool because that means you guys will get to see them. So as of right now, we only have 1 villager. And that's important because if this villager dies, we actually lose the game and we have to start all over again. So the primary thing we want to do is we want to get a house. Now, I don't remember exactly what the price is for a house. It might be 2 wood and 1 villager. But I will figure it out at some point. It's been a while since I've needed to make a house. I'm so used to already having a bunch of villagers on hand. Because you can sometimes actually get another villager from these booster packs, and also from the old village, which we don't have access to yet. But we have plenty of rocks here, so we can start mining for rocks. So that's the end of day 1, and so now we have to feed our villager. Villager takes 2 hunger points, and so we consume 2 strawberries because each one is worth 1. Now later on in the game, when we get more stuff, we'll actually be able to combine the strawberry with things like apples and stuff, and we'll make other food. I'll actually have to go over and use up the rest of that berry bush in a second because we no longer have any food. So that was cool. We actually just got another coin from that, so we can buy another booster pack soon. So this is flint. This is another resource that you can get from rocks. Commonly, you will use this to make stoves, campfires, stuff like that. And it can be a pain in the ass to actually mine for this because it's very inconsistent. It's actually easier sometimes to get it from booster packs than it would be to actually forage for it in like these little tiles. Or later on, we actually get to make a quarry that will actually give us access to getting this randomly, just as much as mining stone. All right, so we have 3 stone there, which we'll get to in a second. We have berry bush here. So again, if our villager dies, the game is over. So we cannot risk that our villager is going to die. What's nice about this, though, is if I get all 3 of these berries out, by the time this was in, by the time this one is done, this will turn into a tree, a berry, well, not a tree, a berry bush, and then we can grab one of these other ones and start making another one very quickly. So as you can see, like, over time, you sort of cycle through things, and you ultimately, if you do it correctly, end up with more than what you had. As long as you do certain things correctly, selling the right things at the right time. Because actually, at some point, there's going to be a market here. Let's see what that was. So the next one is build a house, which we don't have the idea to do that yet. Good. So it does not consume the soil. I couldn't remember if it did or didn't, so we can just keep doing what we were doing. So that'll keep us cycling through food for a while. And it'll actually be self-sustaining in of itself, at least for one villager for a while. Now, what I've done over here is I've stacked 3 stones, and I've put a villager on top. This is going to make us a brick, which is a resource that we need to make other stuff. You can also sell them for more money. As you can see, flint is worth 2. I could sell this flint right now and get us another booster pack, but I think I'm going to wait because, as I said, flint is not the easiest resource to get your hands on, at least not initially. So we have a brick there. I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to start working on this tree. Now, I do remember the recipe for warehouses. Unfortunately, the only way we're going to get them usually is later on here, but I know how to make the iron mine. Okay, so we've made enough decisions on the board where the game has now released the next booster pack for us. That one will give us ideas, that particular booster pack. We also have an apple. So what we could do with this apple, instead of producing another berry bush, we could fuse this apple with something else. However, this apple in and of itself will sustain our villager. So the game may have us eat the apple at the end of this turn instead of eating the 2 berries. Unless possibly I could affect the priority by doing this. But I'll have to see if that actually will do anything. Occasionally you will get apples from trees, like I said earlier, so unfortunately this kind of put us in a position where I didn't get as much wood as I wanted. So instead I'm going to turn this into a stick and sell it. And I probably will get the more expensive booster pack. Okay, so that did do what I wanted it to do. By putting certain cards underneath other ones, sometimes you can affect the priority, but I've noticed it can be a bit wonky sometimes and it doesn't always do what you want it to do. Alright, so we have another stick. So I'm going to sell that one. And now we have 4 coins. There we go. So the idea for the stick, technically I believe we already have. Yeah, because I had already been making them. So sometimes you can actually unlock ideas before the game will actually give you the idea. This is an idea card. I can actually sell this immediately and get my money back. Here's another stick so I can get a few more coins from that. And now we have an extra berry bush, so we don't have to feel as bad about not making more berries. And we'll just consume this apple for the next turn. So this is the coin chest, which we can store our coins in, because otherwise they will be all over the board. But we don't need one this second, because that will actually add another resource to the board that we don't want. So again, we have 4 coins, and we also got those ideas that we needed. So let's roll again. So we have a plank idea here. So these just popped up here. So the plank is essentially very similar to the brick, but it's made with wood, obviously, instead of bricks. And we also have a lumber camp. So lumber camp is something we're definitely going to want. So that should be the next thing that we aim for. We have 1 wood here, and we have a tree. There we go. So a lumber camp is 3 wood, 1 stone, 1 villager, and what that will actually do for us is we won't need to buy booster packs anymore to get wood. We can actually just harvest it automatically from the lumber camp itself. It is basically infinite wood. We also just got another apple, so that's good. We can focus more on getting resources and not worrying about food. Fortunately, we have not found the idea for a house yet. So we need 1 more wood and 1 stone. So what I could do is I will probably get 1 stone from here, and then I'll put it to the side. Oh, it looks like I only had 1. Okay, so this is where you have to start making choices. I think I will sell the brick for now, which is kind of a waste because it's one of those things where we wasted time making the brick because each individual component of the brick would have been worth 1 point or 1 coin. Later on in the game, we actually get an item that is very similar to the lumber camp, where it's a processing thing, where it'll actually make bricks for us for a cheaper price. And at that point, it's actually much more lucrative to have the machine make the bricks for us and then sell them. But for now, I'm just going to sell the brick because we need this stone to make the lumber camp. I will grab another more expensive booster pack. So this is the one for brick. We can sell that. This is the one for garden. We're going to sell that as well, but it's 1 soil, 2 stone, 2 wood, 1 villager. We can actually wait to do this because we actually are going to want the better quality farm at some point. So we now have 3 wood and 1 stone. So let's make a lumber camp. And while that is going, we can actually buy one of the cheaper booster packs. And thankfully that got us some more wood. We can actually move this around while it's processing. I know I keep pausing the game. It's just easier to do some of the things that you want to do by moving cards around on the board. For people that want to go a little faster, obviously you would just leave it running. But sometimes that can come back to bite you later. Sometimes for this game specifically, it's easier to just take it a little slow to figure out what exactly you want to do. So we have a lumber camp now, so these like regular tree items we don't really need as much. The thing is, selling them though only gives you, well, nothing. So it's better to just continue to process them anyway. So it looks like our soil is all done with that berry bush. And the nice thing is that if there is a tile nearby that's similar, it'll just automatically put it in a pile for you. You can actually start producing some apples. These apple trees are nice. Okay, so we finished processing. There's a stick here. So we can continue processing on the lumber camp, or we can process rocks. We're going to need more rocks, so we'll process rocks. I'm going to sell this stick for now. Unfortunately, the beginning of the game isn't super exciting. A lot of it is just basically setting up. We will continue to produce lumber in a second, but I want to make one stick so I can get us another booster pack. And there we go. Villager needs to eat. So there goes one of our apples. Thankfully, the other one is growing another tree for apples. Let's see. So that'll be doing that. Let's get us some more ideas. And there we go. There's our second villager. So let's see if it gave us an idea for the quarry. Now, do we have the ingredients for it? We do. So we can just stack like that. The quarry's recipe is basically the opposite of the lumber camp. Which I'm sure I remembered that subconsciously somewhere, but wasn't really thinking about it at the time. So we have an extra berry bush. Unfortunately, though, now we don't have enough food. So I'm actually going to take this one off the lumber camp. I'm going to leave this one to make the quarry, and I'm actually going to bring this one over here to make us some food. We need to start getting rid of some of these berry bushes anyway because they're taking up too much inventory space. So we need to get rid of at least one of the berry bushes, which is going to produce us 3 berries each, but we're going to use a little bit of the other bush. So yeah, resource management, as you can see, is a big deal in this game. Our quarry is done. So now we have quarry and lumber camp. I usually put wood on top. Let me move this down here. So let's see. The game wants us to create offspring. So the way that we're going to do that is by using a house, which we don't have the recipe for yet. I could guess the recipe, but I think it'd be more fun just to go get the actual recipe from the booster pack, because that will incentivize the game to give us more stuff. So we'll start with working on wood for now, and I'll buy a smaller booster pack. Ah, here we go. Well, that wasn't very helpful. Yes, game. We know that you make children, by using the house. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to take 2 villagers and put them in the house for them to, I'm sure you know. So unfortunately, though, they gave us another berry. Well, not entirely unfortunate, but they gave us another berry bush that's going to eat into our resource tiles. But all these berries will be gone by the next day. Reason we don't want to set up any more than that because we want to utilize what we have over here for resources. So I'm going to take my other villager and put them on the quarry and have them all working on the same thing, essentially. We don't want to start making children yet because that's more people to feed and therefore more resources that have to be on the board by the end of the day. Now, you could argue that because of how this game works, those resources would be consumed by the end of the day. But, again, I like to take this game slow. Okay, so we have some extra wood here. Make a stick. We'll sell for a small booster pack. Sounds like our tree was all done. So we've made an apple tree. Now, apple trees will be a lot better than berry bushes because as long as we're producing enough apples, we'll only need 2 of them instead of the 4 that we need for berries. Okay, so unfortunately we've put ourselves in a pickle here. This is what I meant about resource management. So now we have too much food. So what we can do is we can put this tree here and this rock here. I'm going to leave them on the quarries, the quarry and the lumber camp, because if I use these resources to produce more stuff, it's all going to end up on the board and I'm going to have to sell it anyway. So what I might actually want to do is I think I'll take this villager off the lumber camp. Because again, we can make plenty of money from wood. And I think I'll take him off as well. I'm not going to put him on here though. I could probably start him on berry bush, but that's debatable. And I don't think I want to grow any more bushes yet. So I'm actually just going to... Sometimes it's more optimal to just leave something here. Actually, it would have been more optimal to have this one also working on some wood, but... is what it is. So what we can actually do is cause a chain here. Oh, well, that's going away. No, get off there. So let's see what we have here. At this point, we need more food. So I'll have this particular villager working on that. Now this tree should be used up in a second. So that'll get it off the board for us. Yep, there we go. And actually, I can just sell that immediately. Goal, you have 10 coins. Well, I didn't know that we were working towards that, but apparently we were. So we should get a coin chest at some point, but for right now, we're going to be just spending all of our money, so we don't need to be, you know, stockpiling it in chests just yet. That's late game, where you just make a bunch of chests and stockpile them all. So we have a garden, but like I said, I think I would want to wait for the farm. So the next course of action would be probably getting the sawmill and the brickyard. Let's buy 1, 2 booster packs. Alright, so Reap and Sow has been unlocked. So Slingshot is a weapon. Later on in the game, we're going to have weapons because we will get attacked by things. Here's our house. We will definitely make one of those soon, but we're probably not going to use it yet. This is a free booster pack that the game has given us for weaponry. We have the idea for a shed. That's to make the board bigger. And this is also another weapon. A chicken? Yeah, so you can also get farm animals, and if you have a chicken and you put the egg under a chicken, it'll give you more chickens. Okay, so that got us some more food, but again, we're running out of board space, which is not good. What do we have here? So combat. Sometimes attacks and other strong. Yeah, so the combat system in this game is pretty simple. It mostly, if you're fast enough, you essentially win. If you can be fast enough and you can deal enough damage efficiently, because accuracy can be a pain in this game as well. And then this is a magic wand. So they're trying to get us prepared because we're going to start getting attacked by things probably within the next couple of days in the game. I think by day 15 or 16. So they want us to be prepared. They want us to make stuff. So what do we have? We have a slingshot, which is 2 sticks and 1 stone. Very inaccurately hurls rocks at enemies. And then we have a spear. The spear is the one that commonly gets made. And it's much more efficient. And it will turn our characters into militia, I believe, which is a type of villager. So I think we'll go with 2 stick ones. Was it stone? No, it's 1 wood. I gotta start using up some of these berries. As you can see, we went from a lot of just like very simple items to much more complex items. And also, if you've noticed, like I said, it kind of snowballs once you start getting certain things into place where the money just kind of multiplies itself. So we have 4 berries here. We don't need any more. Not for now, anyway. So we'll start mining some rock. At the end of the day, if there's too many things over the level cap. So what happens is if your level cap is too high by the end, you just have to sell some items to continue. Which I wouldn't be opposed to selling off some stone if we had to. Alright, so first things first, we have 2 stick, 1 wood. That's going to turn itself into a spear, and we can add it to one of our guys. Yeah, if I accidentally had pulled that off, that wouldn't have been very good. I think I'll sell 2 stone for now. Let's get some more ideas. And I guess since the game is kind of hinting at it, we might want to actually buy one of these packs. Oh, that was exactly enough. As you can see, yeah, flint is not that easy to come by. We've only gotten 2 of them since the game started. So this is what I was doing earlier at the beginning. I had a soil and I put a berry on it. So the game would tell you later on how to do that, but I kind of knew how to do it already. So we have a raw meat here. You would want a campfire to cook this. We also have a chicken. Now, in the part where we go to the island is hot, so food actually spoils on the island. In this area, though, in the main portion of the game, food does not spoil at all, which is good. But at the same time, when you start bringing stuff from the island, your farm is going to get very diverse. And sometimes food gets a little out of control because the food doesn't spoil. Where the island is more challenging because, you know, sometimes you want the food to not spoil because you really need it, and sometimes it will spoil right beneath you, which sucks. So you have this chicken now. Chickens are actually going to make eggs, which will be nice for us. Now a campfire, I believe, is... I think it's 1 flint and a wood. Ah, there we go. There's that spear. So you just put it on here, and as you can see, later on we're going to have headgear and we're going to have armor. Let's see if this is the recipe. It is not. I am going to brute force the recipe for the campfire because we do need it. Is it possibly a stick and a flint? Okay, there we go. Yeah, I'm definitely going to have too much stuff by the end. I think I will actually sell this meat because it's worth decent money. And we will sell some stone. Because again, we have infinite stone at this point and infinite wood, so we will make money forever at this point. It's just more about the time consumption. So we need 2 stick, 1 wood to turn this villager into a militia. There we go. That's already making itself. There's our campfire. We have an extra stick that we can sell. We're going to need more wood. We actually got some more flint, which is good, to replace the one that I had to use to make the campfire. So we have a campfire now. We can use it to cook certain things like meat and other products that can be used to be turned into food, because you cannot eat the raw steak itself. You can only eat it once it's been cooked, which is why I ultimately ended up selling it. We can actually kill this chicken and turn it into meat and cook that on the fire. But for now, I'm just going to let the chicken run around and do its thing, because occasionally it will drop an egg, and the egg we could put on the fire. I'm not putting this character on anything yet, because there we go. Turn him into a militia as well, just in case. So as you can see, these guys have a health bar now, and if I can't speak today. If I hover over the character, it tells us that there's a 5% chance to do critical damage. If you're wondering where that is, it's over here in the corner, but it only appears when I hover over it. So he has 15 HP, he has a base combat level of 14, total combat of 17, and a 5% chance for critical damage. You can actually make this character even more powerful again by whatever headgear you give and whatever armor you give. Now, there are other weapons that you can give to turn a character into a militia. The same thing with any other type of villager in this game. And depending on what that item is, will have a different effect. I believe the spear is the one that gives critical damage and +2 damage, as we can see here. Yes. So there are actually better weapons that will turn this character into a militia that do much more damage and have better effects. But this one's actually not too bad, especially early game. Don't know what's good. Oh, the chicken was knocking around the berry bush. So, mobs and other things can actually knock into stuff. Like if I do this, as you can see, the cards get shoveled around. There's actually cards later on that will keep these things stuck to the board so they won't move around. But I don't tend to use them. They tend to be a waste of resources. They're not very helpful half the time. So what other quests do we have at the moment? We'll complete 4 more quests to unlock a new booster pack. Okay. So at the moment, it looks like we don't have too much, but let's see if we can open some more wisdom packs. I have exactly enough for 2. Now, the card packs do not count as resources until I open them, so I'm going to wait until the day is over to open them. So let's feed our villagers. So at this point, we could start reproducing villagers, which would be very helpful to get more stuff done. The problem is that if there's a baby on the board, the baby is also going to cost resources. But I guess we could set up a house. Unfortunately, again, that's going to take another resource from us to have the house on the board. I guess I could make a few sheds. I'll probably do 3, and then once we have access to the iron mine, I can possibly, it will be a lot easier, and then I'll probably just delete all of the sheds because they're not worth as much as the warehouse. They ultimately end up taking space after a while. So it looks like it's 1 wood, 1 stone, and 1 stick. So we have all the stone we need to make 3 of them. Guess I should start making sticks. And the chicken is just hopping around, getting in my way. Eventually we can get an animal pen to put the chicken away so that it's not hopping around all over the board. Okay. So wood, 1 stone, 1 stick. And then while that's going on, I can have this guy go make food. Ah, there's the egg. So let's see, can we cook this on the campfire? No, it doesn't look like it. We might need more than 1 egg. It might be 2 eggs on the campfire, or it might have to be on a stove. Again, it's been a little bit since I've played this game. I do enjoy it, though. But that is okay. We can leave the egg there for a while. Actually, you know what? Why don't we make another chicken? That's a good idea. That'll give the chicken something to do so it's not hopping around on the board. So as you can see, our cap went up by 4, which is why sheds are not very efficient. So I usually put these in the corner to keep them out of the way. Like I said before, to get these off the board later, we will just sell them and replace them with warehouses. I think warehouses either provide twice or 3 times as much as a shed in resource storage, so they are a lot more efficient. But as you can see, the board also got bigger. So I'm stumbling over my words. It's probably because it's very late. I'm actually recording this in not the most conventional place. As I said, things have been a little difficult lately. But I wanted to get a video out because, you know, I haven't seen you guys in a while. Figured I had a little bit of time. Curled up, cozy. So let's see. We need 1 more wood. Unless I can get it from this. We have campfire, which I've already made. Here's the other wood. So let's get that out of the way first. And as you can see, the game gives you plenty of berry bushes without even trying, so you're not really going to starve. It's not like something like Minecraft or Don't Starve. Like, the game tends to be pretty good about keeping you fed. Which is why some people just turn off the combat and use this as like a peaceful, like, world building simulator. Because it's comfy. Alright, we have enough food. We probably will make a house next, since I'm making sheds, and we'll have plenty of space. Let's see. Up here. 2 wood and 1 stone, 1 villager. We can do that real quick. Oh, we got an apple. Nice. We'll actually start growing more apple trees. The game might take the apple from us if we do that, so let's hold on to it back here for now. Because sometimes the game, if you don't have a prioritizer, which we get one later, it's called the mess hall. The prioritizer will actually prevent the game from taking certain items that you don't want it to take. So generally in a prioritizer like a mess hall, you would put it here, and then you would take whatever card you want to be consumed first and put it on the mess hall. And then you would just basically layer it in order. As long as there is a prioritizer here and there is plenty of food, the game won't touch anything that's not on the prioritizer. Which is good. Especially if you're trying to do something like grow trees. Okay, so we were in the process, I believe, of making... yes, we needed 1 more shed and then we were going to make a house. That's what we were doing. As you can see, this is blinking up here. That's because I have too many resources. Hopefully, we won't have to sell too many things by the end of the day. Might have to sell some rocks. Oh, surprisingly, we reached just enough. So we'll produce one more shed. It's not really my preference for how I do this, but it's alright. It at least makes it a little less of a hard push. Okay, so we have some apples here, which we can start turning into trees so that the game won't eat them on us. Yeah, we'll do that for now. This shed's already being made, so I'll probably put this character back on food duty in a second. Just to get some berries out there to put those apples at the bottom. So the chicken is almost ready. So we'll have 2 chickens running around, which will be good. That's twice as many eggs, which is a lot more profitable and it's a lot more helpful. So as you can see, the board just keeps getting bigger, so we have to keep adjusting. I don't mind, though. So we have 3 berries already, so once that last one gets made, I'll probably take that character off that job. So we've actually acquired quite a bit of flint, and I know we're going to need that, I believe, for the iron mine. I just don't quite remember what the other ingredients are for it, at least at this moment. What I will do is I think I will take a chance. Oh, well that didn't help much. But as you can see, that did get us twice as many rocks. There we go, now we have 2 chickens. Plenty of food. So what the game wants us to do is to jump straight into farming. The thing is, we don't have enough space. Like I said, I would like to brute force getting the iron mine. So we're just going to keep seeking wisdom for now. Some of the items in the game we actually won't be able to get until we either go and do the DLCs or until we go to the island. Which if I had the recipe for the boat, we could actually go to the island right now, but this is so early in the game that we wouldn't want to do that yet. Because the goal essentially is to beat the island and then bring back resources that we couldn't normally get from the island and bring them here. A great example would be gold. The recipe for the gold mine is in that area, and so we would want to bring that back here. See the cards just kind of hop around. It's actually kind of cute. So the reason I pause there is I want to utilize as much small amount of time that we have left. Because I want to be able to sell another stick and then get us a booster pack. That's all it got us was wood. I mean, I can't complain. We do need wood. Can't complain. We'll sell some stone. It ate one of our apples. Actually, I'm not sure it ate the full apple. Oh, that's actually very lucky for us. It looks like it only ate part of the apple, which means that this apple actually got to stay on the soil, which means we actually utilized some of the apple. Still a weird way of doing that, though. It utilized some of the apple, and then we still actually are going to get the benefit of making an apple tree. Because the way that food works in this game is that so you have the value that the food is worth, and then you have how much it costs if you were to sell it. In this case, apples are normally, as you can see here. Oh, you used some of that one too. That's weird. We have an apple here that's 2. That's what the base value of an apple usually is. So the villagers will actually eat out of the apple and will only deplete the card after the apple has no more value here. So if this hits 0, that's the only way that the card actually disappears off the board. So we actually have an apple here that's also worth 1. I think I can try and sneak this on here and get us another apple tree out of it. Let's see. So I was going to buy a booster pack. Ah, this is poop. You can actually use this to make greenhouses, but you need glass, which is in the island area, which we don't have access to right now. But let me check and see if the farm... Oh, we don't have access to the farm. Do we have the garden? Like I said, I really wanted to wait, but... I will hold on to this poop. Actually, you know what we can do with this poop? We can make the other apple tree early. Because poop basically functions the same way as the soil. The difference being is that this will disappear once it's used up. Actually, guys, I've just looked at the time. Seems I'm going to have to cut this a little short, but it was nice seeing everyone again. I know it's been a while, and I'm going to try and not disappear so often anymore. If you guys really like this game, I would be more than happy to play more of it, and hopefully I won't spend most of our time just explaining how the game works and just playing it, but, so, been good to see you all, and, again, sorry about being gone so long, and sorry about being so awkward about my return. I mean, I've been gone quite a while, and, just a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. Don't worry, one day I will eventually explain it when I have time. But for now, this has been Indigo, signing off. Be safe, everybody.